drum roll. Showing Up. Showing Up is a new app built in Bend that helps you stay close to the people who matter most. Unlike social apps built for distraction, it focuses on real-world connection. It has no ads, feeds, or tracking, and offers a simple and private way to be more intentional with your relationships. Launching soon on iPhone and Android. Joining us tonight is founder and designer Russell Wilkins, who has led consumer experience at companies like Uber, Netflix, and OpenAI. He builds intuitive, user-centered products and advises early-stage startups on design and strategy. Welcome to the stage, Russell.
Thank you. Do we have a clicker? It's still up there? Okay, wonderful. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Russell Wilkins. I'm a designer and founder based here in Bend, Oregon. I'm really excited to be here talking about what we've been building the past couple of years. Okay, so just a quick bit about me. I'm a U of O alum, go Ducks. I've led product design at several companies, startups, as well as Uber, Netflix, OpenAI. And I'm now founding ShowingUp, an app that's designed to help us manage and nurture what I believe to be the most important part of our lives, our relationships. Okay, so let's do a little check-in with the crowd. Raise your hand if any of these things feel familiar to you. My life is full, but I'm still craving more time with the people that I care about. Anybody? Yeah, okay, sweet, me too. Many social apps promise connection, but they can be a little bit more distracting than helpful, AKA the TikTok black hole. Yes, awesome. All right, and so when I lose touch with someone, I can feel a little bit anxious or guilty, and that makes it harder to reach out. Anybody? Yeah, okay, it's a human experience, I get it. So these are things that I've been feeling for myself, and I know a lot of other people do as well. So I've designed something that I think is gonna help with that, and I wanna talk through it. But first, a little backstory. In 2017, I was leading a design team at a large tech company, and I would, be in a meeting or be outside of work, and I'd be thinking about one of my direct reports. I should talk to OJ about his career goals in our next one-on-one, or I should talk to Emily about this design presentation that she has coming up. And I didn't really have a place to put those thoughts. Oftentimes, they just kind of came and went. And I tried a lot of different hacks. I tried Google Docs, email, Slack, tried everything, but nothing was really built for that intentional moment of us actually coming together and spending time together. So being a designer, I hacked together a little prototype, and I made a little one-on-one digital space. So when we would come together, we knew exactly what we were going to be connecting on. All right, so this is a very obvious problem, and obviously it needs to have a solution. So I started looking around, and there are thousands of apps for connection, for messaging, for chatting, for sharing, but none of them really hit that chord. None of them really help me show up with intentionality and feel that sense of connection with the important people in my life. And I started noticing a bit of a deeper pattern here, that if we actually look closely at a lot of these, they're not really built from the ground up for actual intentional relationships. Okay, so with that in mind, I started thinking about what this problem actually means. And I wanted to build something that would help me with my relationships with my mom, with my manager, with my mountain bike coach, and for the things that actually mattered in those unique relationships. So next week, I'm gonna be publicly launching ShowingUp, and it's an app that isn't designed intentionally around this idea of maintaining that connection and being able to show up with that intentionality. We're very excited, so we're a week out, and I wanna talk through the product a bit to give you a sense of this experience. So what is it? ShowingUp's built for your one-on-one relationships. It's not social media, it's not texting, it's not CRM, it's something a little bit different. One sec, okay. So the core of the product is the actual one-on-one space. The one-on-one space is something that you can create with any of your important relationships at work or at home. It's fully encrypted, and like you said, not ad supported, so I can't see what's going on in your one-on-one space. It's fully yours. And in the one-on-one space, it's split up into 3 intentional areas. So we have topics, things that we want to catch up on, actions, things that we want to do about it, and then wins, moments that we want to celebrate together. And again, this is built for you and one other person. Very different from social media, very different from the idea of like broadcasting. So I want to use a real world example here. This is my buddy Justin, real person. And I moved to Bend like 3 years ago. And he and I kind of lost touch. We would catch up every few months, but we decided about a year ago to actually have like a standing monthly FaceTime, just to like see what's going on in each other's world. So the way that we use the app is as the month goes by in our daily lives, I'm reminded of Justin. Oh, I want to get his feedback on this idea that I had, or we want to plan a mountain biking trip. And we add this to our shared space. So when we actually get on our FaceTime call, we're able to jump right into what matters most. And topics are sortable, so you can kind of pull whatever's top of mind to the very top. So when we hop on our call, we know right where we want to get to. And this idea of showing up with that intentionality is something that I think is really important. Now, the next section is action. So Justin and I are on our FaceTime, and I don't know if you have friends like this, but we're just talking about a bunch of stuff. It's just going all over the place. Emphatic recommendations, crazy trip ideas. We're scheming on projects. It's just like all over the map. But we also really value follow through. And so I found out recently that Justin's considering moving to Bend with his family, and I was ecstatic. Like, oh my God, I really want to support this endeavor. And I was like, what if I put together like a list of like the top 10 family-friendly things to do in Bend? This was mid-conversation. He's like, yeah, that would really help me out. So I just took a second, I jotted it down. He was able to see that. And so we created a little bit of shared accountability in our space. So tomorrow when I follow up with him, I'm going to send him that list and create that sense of actual connection. But this is my favorite part, is the wins. All that work that we put in, that intentionality, that care, that follow through, inevitably leads to the joy of shared memories. And to me, that's what this whole thing is about, is creating that sense of memory and trust. And so for me, this is like a shared trophy case or like Polaroids on a fridge, but it's just for me and Justin. There's no broadcasting publicly. It is showing up, it's not showing off. Within the one-on-one spaces, we have some premium features. We have private notes. And the way that you think about this is like, man, I have some gift ideas, career goal aspirations, favorite flowers, their coffee order, things like that. So within the shared space, I have the ability to jot those little things down as they come up, those little noteworthy moments. Justin can't see these. These are just for me, but it's a part of our shared space. We also found out through research that a lot of people keep their Facebook account active just to be reminded about birthdays. Does anyone else? Yeah, okay, all right, cool, I see some hands, wonderful. And so we're gonna be shipping birthday reminders as part of that shared space. And then later on this year, we're gonna have other milestone reminders, work anniversaries, anything that's actually momentous that you wanna be reminded about. And during the beta over the past 6 months, we've gotten a lot of feedback where people are like, yeah, I love the one-on-one space. It's great to share with people. It's great to celebrate that relationship, but I kind of want to have a place to jot down those thoughts and celebrate myself. And that's not something I think we'd really do for ourselves as much as I'd like. And so we built Personal Space, which is basically the same framework, but designed just for you. And again, fully encrypted, so I can't be creeping around in what you guys are doing in your personal spaces. But this can be a lot. And if you think about it, I got my mom, got my Uncle Phil, got my buddy Justin, and all these other friends. So we started thinking about categories, and people kind of naturally anchor to work and home. And so on the right, we have a direct report, we have a client, we have my golf coach. These are all use cases that really work with this structure. And this gives you that sense of bifurcation. Yeah, we got my work stuff, and then we got my home stuff. So creating a connection is super easy. Like for the example, me and Justin, I moved out of state and just took me seconds to create that connection with him on the personal side. And then maybe you meet someone tonight at the PubTalk. You're like, oh, I want to follow up with that person. So creating a connection is super easy. It just takes a few seconds and you're able to create that intention and make sure you don't lose track of those things that matter with that person. All right, a couple example use cases, just to kind of make this like grounded in reality. If you think about like parents and teens or kids off to college, it's a really great way to keep track of those important conversations and celebrate those little wins to help them feel seen and all the hard work that they're doing for themselves. It's fantastic for managers and employees because you're able to hear those moments of like, oh yeah, those career goal aspirations and really help inspire and nudge their growth. And then with couples especially, it's like a subtle and beautiful way to keep track of those little moments of joy, plan date ideas. Just make sure that you're always showing up for that person you care most about. All right, so we've all heard the adage, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product, and pretty much all social media, all social apps work in that realm. They kind of just basically pay for your attention. We don't do that. We're starting off with a freemium model. And the limit on the free, it's actually very useful. It's more for passive users. We only limit things like total connections and total topics, but it's still a really useful tool. But the paid version is fully unlocked and virtually unlimited. And it's an incredible tool for intentional relationship builders, professional community makers, anyone that really wants to show up for the people around them. We're also going to be exploring showing up for work, so more professional use cases, as well as leveraging some AI features later on in the year. All right, so what I need from you all, we're launching next week officially. We're still in the final stages of beta testing, so there are a few bugs here and there, but I've self-funded and built this thing from the ground up. And I'm really excited about what it can do to help us be more intentional with our relationships. So please give it a shot. Reach out to me anytime. I'll buy you a coffee, a beer. I really want to like iterate on this and make this something that works for as many people as I can. And I'm very excited about this. So thank you all for showing up today. And I'm excited to see how this supports your relationships as much as it supported mine. Appreciate
Beautifully
it.
done. This is so cool.
Thank you.
I feel like it actually does what we want social media to do, but social media isn't doing, and in fact is working against, right?
Amen.
So I have a question. If you're not broadcasting, if people aren't out there being your mouthpiece, how do you get people to hear about the product, engage with the product? Like, how do you get customers?
Yeah, so the way social apps typically work is like a virality. Like there's a novel thing, like the Yo app in like 2018, things like that. My hope is this doesn't grow that fast. I really want it to be more of like a redwood growth where my friend Adam starts trying it with his wife Hillary, and then Hillary tries it with her friend. I want to see like how that thread works because I'd rather the use cases be really grounded and really useful rather than like blowing up on TechCrunch, like, oh, download this app. So for the first like 3 months that it's out, I just want to see how it works with the communities around it.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm very impressed. Okay, questions? Yes, in the back. Yes, you.
Howdy, Patrick.
Really interesting idea. I like the stages to your interactions and what interests me specifically is actions. I think about when I speak to some of my friends that maybe don't live nearby, and we're texting, and there's oftentimes in the conversation a lot of you shoulds or we should do X, we shouldn't do Y, we should do Z. My question to you is, have you considered implementing any kind of either software or artificial intelligence that would suggest actions? Because oftentimes our interactions never go. So encouraging us to move towards things.
Yeah, this is an interesting question. So he's saying when he's communicating with, say, a friend that's out of town, they're texting and they have oftentimes are like they have intentions to connect, and it's kind of like a we should, and he, maybe it doesn't actually ever turn into something that actually happens in real life. And he's wondering if you have kind of a plan for that in terms of using AI or something to actually help with follow-up to make these things happen between relationships.
Yes, a lot of plans. So that idea right there is exactly why I wanted to present today. Is like, if you want to meet up at any point and talk about that specific use case, I'd love to learn about how you work and how anyone else works in that moment, because everyone has those we should moments. I've spent a lot of time at OpenAI. I am very excited about how AI can support those things, but I also don't want to push people or prescribe people into a certain way of thinking about following up on those we shoulds. I want to see how they do it with just like a base foundation. But there are a lot of paths. We have a lot of different options. Just a matter of what is the most viable.
Russell, you are really cool. Okay, I just
Yeah,
want to
thank
say that
you.
you're really cool. So I think it's such an interesting moment for social media, right? Too, in terms of like how we're using it and what we want to do going forward, and we know it's going to change. So it's really interesting to see something like this pop up. Okay, I know I had another question for Russell. Yes, right here. Mm-hmm. Okay, are you using any sort of aggregation tool to like pull from other apps that exist, like to like fill your connections, right? Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to get sick of this question, but can you give me like one example that you're thinking about in real life?
We all hold on to that for like pictures or birthdays.
Yeah.
But I don't really know who I want to capture. So if there is kind of like Spotify, when it'll recommend like a new AI playlist, you get to go through and say, oh, keep that, don't keep that.
Okay.
So if it was, say, pulling from Facebook, it's like, hey, here's your 300 friends. Who do you actually want to keep in here?
Yeah.
Important ones that should.
Okay, so he's saying, like, for example, Facebook could you could download all your 300 friends from Facebook, and the app could say, like, we recommend connecting with these people and bringing those into this platform.
Yeah. Okay. So this is brilliant. A, And then B, the answer that I have today is different than the answer I'll have 3 months from now. But what I initially want to rely on is where people are at in this moment right now. So I actually want them to slowly add people and slowly add data that's relevant to them in their moment there. It's so easy to do like a quick pull from any API of any social platform and just get flooded with that information. Boom, you're right back to where you were. Too much, way too much. And it's really hard to like set that intentionality. So initially, I want people to do that work up front for themselves. These are the 5 most important relationships in my life. And these are the things that I want to add to them. Over time, I do think there's value in pulling in from data sets like that, but it's such a tempting thing to do to just flood people with data because that's what everyone else has done. And it doesn't seem to be working. So it's a great idea, but we got to be intentional about it. Does that make sense?
I love that. Okay, and yes, right here.
And question is, can you do groups?
Can you do groups? And second question, can you do a photo dump? So can you share photos? And can you do that maybe within groups?
Okay, so let's start with the photos. That's easier. Initially, no photo dump. You can make those little Polaroids. And the idea there is like pick the thing that captures that memory the most, like just the best. And that's what we have. That's our Polaroid on the fridge, right? You don't take 1,500 Polaroids at a party. You take a couple and you hang onto those. So eventually I want to think about media as a way to capture memories, but I don't want to just fall back on, we created an album and just threw 500 photos in there. Like I want to, again, back to intentionality. Groups, though, I'm really excited about. That's one of the first features we're going to roll out later this summer. I'm going to call it Villages. And it's going to be this like full opt-in situation where it's not like creating a group thread where I could throw everyone here on a group thread today if I wanted to. But if I create a group, Shannon and Megan, they all have to agree to opt into that group. And then if I leave the group, they have to agree to keep it. And so it's that idea of like the intentional group. What does that actually mean? That also hasn't been done in social before and something that we're exploring right now.
I love that. That's a great feature and a great idea. I can definitely think of an instance when I would use that. Well, obviously you have people who are very, very interested. And so I want to encourage all of you to connect with Russell and ask your questions and go get that beer and that coffee. This is awesome. And I hope that you'll come back and let us know how it went, the launch, what you've learned. Just really, really pleased. Beautiful pitch. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, everybody.